question at any point, just drop it in the chat, and then we will have time for questions at the end of today's session. I'd like to introduce Lisa Metzger. She's with Be More Colorful. Her job title, I think, is Subscription Account Manager, but I like to call her the expert on all things CareerViewXR because, when I have technical issues or, somebody asks me a question, she's my go-to person. So thank you for being that resource for us all. And for those of you who don't know me, I'm Laura Glauser. I'm the Career Resource Manager for North Dakota CTE, and I'm your go-to person for all things Are You Ready? ND.gov. And of course, CareerViewXR has an integration into Are You Ready? So I get to work with Lisa quite a bit on that, and she's got some exciting things to share with you for about the future and just some of the existing things today. So I'll turn it over to you, Lisa.
All right. Well, thanks, Laura, and thanks for having me. Good to see all of your faces. So thanks to everybody for joining today. I also want to mention that I'm going to get the slide deck out to you guys some way after the presentation. So if there's anything in here that is of interest to you, that you would also have that. And then yes, I will hang out at the end of our session today too to help answer any questions. But I also have an email at the end of the slide deck as well. So please reach out if you have any questions. I'm happy to jump on a Teams call at any time and just kind of walk you through whatever kind of issues you might be having or questions you have. So today, what we're going to do is I'm going to do advance my slides here. Wait, there we go. I'm going to do a quick overview on CareerViewXR. And then we're going to talk about accessing the web-based experiences and how you get in and how to use them. We're going to talk about the VR headsets. And then we're going to also talk about a PD course opportunity for everybody as well. So we're going to work our way through everything. And then, like I said, we'll open it up to questions at the end. If you have any questions, feel free to throw them in the chat while I'm presenting too, because I can take a peek in the chat and try to answer some questions as we're going over something specific. Okay. So with that, so CareerViewXR, so who we are and what we do. So we're headquartered in Fargo, which kind of makes it unique. But we're actually serving schools across the United States. So that's kind of fun too. But obviously, North Dakota is kind of our area that we love to serve, and we love to be working with you guys very closely and highlighting the careers that are located in North Dakota. So what we're doing is we are bringing those real world jobs into the classrooms. So really students get the opportunity to look over the shoulder of somebody who has a career in that role. And when we create an experience, we create two different types of experiences. The first one is the web-based experience, and the second is a VR video. And the VR video is the one that's kind of the exciting new thing that people love. But the nice thing about the web-based experiences, and it's nice to have that web-based experience because there are some students that aren't able to wear a VR headset, or some adults that also won't be able to wear a VR headset. So it gives those individuals that opportunity to be able to still explore the careers. And then the other nice thing about the web-based experiences is that it's a good intro to CareerViewXR so that students can go out there, explore, see what's out there that's available that they can wear in the VR headset and put on, view in the VR headset. It may also help them narrow down their choices to, let's say, these are the 3 videos that I want to watch in the VR headset after they've had that chance to explore on the web-based experiences. So that just kind of gives you a little bit of an idea of kind of what we have out there. Right now we have 105 overall experiences. Okay, and anything that you see in the web-based platform, we have a companion VR video available for that experience. We call them experiences, but they're essentially a virtual job shadow is what they are. So we have our big categories are the healthcare, manufacturing, skilled trades. but we do cover all of the career clusters. And so we're trying to have a diverse set of experiences so that there's something available for all of those students. We have release dates in October and in March. So in early October, we released an additional 9 experiences. In March, we'll be releasing another bundle of experiences. So just be aware that we're always making more and more, but also be aware then that as you're kind of working with your VR headsets, that there are more and more to add all of the time as well. Okay. So what's new with CareerViewXR this year is that CareerViewXR is available K through 12 across North Dakota. A couple of years ago, it was available just at the middle and high school level, but now that those elementary schools are also going to be able to dive into CareerViewXR. So each district will still have control over how they're using CareerViewXR in your school. So if you have a big focus in that middle school level, it's kind of up to your school district or your school to determine how it's best to use CareerViewXR in your school. Couple things to also be aware of is that the elementary schools, I'm not certain if there are any elementary, it kind of seems like maybe not any elementary folks on this call, but a lot of the elementary schools don't have the VR headsets. So it would be kind of a good fit for those. Oh, looks like, is Pam? I'm looking at the chat here.
Oh, I think she's just introducing herself.
Okay. Hi, Pam. So the elementary schools won't have those VR headsets like the middle and high schools do, and so it's a good opportunity for those elementary schools to really use those web-based experiences to explore CareerViewXR at that level, and then those middle and high schools can really dive into using those VR headsets. The other thing to kind of be aware of with having CareerViewXR in the elementary schools is that think about yourself as an elementary student, and maybe every year or maybe even every month you decided you wanted to be something different. So students are kind of all over the board with what they want to be in that elementary level. So they're probably going to be exploring a pretty broad level. And once they kind of get to that middle school and certainly that high school level, they might have more of a career pathway that they're following, whether it's healthcare or construction. So just know that while they might be kind of exploring a little bit more broadly at that elementary level, they're going to be a little bit more focused at that high school level. And then the other thing to kind of be aware of too, when just knowing that CareerView is available K-12, is that every year, as I said earlier, there are new experiences that are going to be put out. So if a 5th grader is exploring, and by the time they get to be a 10th grader, there might be 50 new experiences that didn't exist when they were exist in our library when they were a 5th grader. So just wanted to kind of touch on a few things regarding elementary, middle, and high school all having access to CareerView. Okay. Sorry, I lost my mouse here. So as far as we're gonna talk about the web-based experiences first and how to get access to those. All of the middle school students and high school students across North Dakota will have access to Are You Ready? And so all students and teachers can log into their Are You Ready accounts, and on the main page they will find CareerViewXR. So that's how everybody will access the web-based experiences. So I'm just gonna stop sharing for a moment here, and I'm gonna show you. I logged into Are You Ready myself as a demo student. My screen might look a little bit different than yours or than other students, but if you scroll down just a little bit, you're going to see this section right here for career videos, and CareerViewXR is located right here. So that's how people will access CareerViewXR. Your school will all have, you'll get that access. If you went to our general website, you wouldn't be able to get into it without having an access code. But if you go in through Are You Ready, then you'll be able to get into the CareerViewXR experiences. And then once you click on CareerViewXR, you'll get into the web-based experience library. So this is the 105 experiences are right here in this library. And as I said earlier, everything that you see on the web-based platform, there is a companion VR video available for this. If a student is interested in a certain career cluster, we do have a categories drop-down that is sorted by career cluster. So if we were to click on healthcare and click on search, then all of the related, sorry, we have a little banner up at the top, all of the healthcare focused videos would show up. Okay, so scroll all the way down. So what I'm going to do is I'm just going to take you into a web-based experience and walk you through. Just click on full screen. There'll be one more thing to click on, and then you are inside this experience. Okay, so this is a flat 360-degree image, so you can look all the way around, all the way up and down. Okay, the compass at the middle bottom shows you how many scenes are in a particular experience. So in this one, there are 15. There's usually between 10 and 15 scenes within every experience. There are a couple that have a little bit more, and there's a couple that have a few less, but generally between 10 and 15 experiences. So I'm just going to jump into a middle scene here just to kind of show you what this looks like. So again, flat 360-degree image. Okay, and then you'll notice within every scene there will be one of these play buttons, and if you click on the play button, there's a short video that's associated with that, and it will include a little bit more information about what's happening in that scene. So if I press play and make it bigger and share my screen, I'm just going to play a snippet.
Critical preparations before surgery. They must position the patient, secure them to the bed with straps, clean the surgical site, and monitor vital signs.
Okay, so you can kind of get a sense of what that's like. Students can read the text up above. It is the same as the voiceover. Okay. And then you'll see these sunburst icons also located throughout the scenes. There are usually between 2 and 4 sunburst icons, which are informational hotspots. And if you click on that, they won't have a video associated with them, but it's just telling a little bit more information about the scene. You can read the text, or you can press play and listen to it. Okay, so there will be, sometimes you do have to look around to find those informational hotspots as well. Okay, so there's 3 right here. I'm not sure if there's any other in this scene. Okay. And there's not, and then you just hit next, and then you jump into that next scene. So that will just walk you through same-day surgery. Okay. The other thing I want to point out is that there is a worksheet that is attached to every web-based experience. So if you click on worksheet, before you get into the experience, a PDF will download to the students or your computer. It is fillable, so students can fill it out as they work their way through an experience. You can print this out if you want and have them handwrite it in. You can, if they fill it out on their computer, they can save it and upload it to a learning platform if you want to have them do it for credit. But just want you to be aware that this is available. And it is the same worksheet for every experience. So it's just asking general questions like, what are the skills or abilities for the career? And do these skills align with your personal strengths? Just getting them to think about, is this a good career fit for me? Okay. And that is kind of a look at the web-based experiences. So I'm going to jump back to my PowerPoint here. And then we will talk a little bit about the VR videos and the VR headset. Okay. So the big differences between watching a VR video in the headset versus the web-based experience is that when you put on that VR headset and you watch the video, you're immersed into the career space, and there's video happening all around you, okay? And you're seeing bodies moving around you. There's a voiceover describing what those workers are doing. So you're immersed into their workspace. You're hearing a little bit more about what they're doing, okay? And with the web-based experiences, you have that flat image, and there are things to click on inside that web-based experience. But in that VR video, once you press play, you can essentially put that controller in your lap and you're observing. Okay, so there isn't anything to click on in that video because it would disrupt the video. Okay, so that's kind of a little bit of those differences between the two of them. The VR video averages between 5 and 7 minutes in length. Again, there's a couple of that are a little bit longer. There's a couple of them that are a little bit shorter, but they're generally between 5 and 7 minutes in length. With the web-based experiences, students can, if they're interested in a particular career, they could spend anywhere from 10 to 15 minutes in a web-based experience as they're kind of going through everything. But with that VR video, there's kind of that start and end time. Okay. So as far as the VR headset goes, in February 2024, we, CareerViewXR did donate a headset to all the middle and high schools across North Dakota. I know everybody's kind of in different stages as far as, how far along you are. Some of you may have already set up your headset, some and are using it, and some may have not even taken it out of the box yet, and that's totally fine. So the first step is to get that headset out of the box and get it set up. The headset walks you through that process. So the minute you turn it on, it will tell you what to do in order to get that set up. Okay. The next step then is to get the CareerView videos uploaded to that VR headset. Okay. And we initially assigned a principal at every school as the admin at all of those middle and high schools across the state. If that admin should be you, like if you're that person that is going to be in charge of the headset, you're going to be that person that is uploading the videos, let me know and I can get it changed to you. And really what I need is your email address, and I need the school that you're at. And I will change that admin to you, and I'll get you those instructions on how to get those videos onto the headset. Okay. The process, simply put, the process is you will log into the CareerView dashboard to get access to those CareerView videos. You'll download the videos to your computer, and then you'll plug in the headset to your computer and transfer the video files over to that VR headset. So that's kind of that process. It does take a little bit more time than kind of how I explained it, because the video files are large. And so they take some time to download onto your computer and then to be transferred over to the headset.
There are a couple questions. I think you're reading them in the chat.
I am.
Okay.
So Janet asks, if I've done this 2 years ago, then yes, Janet, then you are set to go. Nothing has changed with that process. So if you got all of those videos uploaded, then nothing has changed in that process. The only thing to be aware of is there probably have been a few videos that have been released since you initially set up that headset. I think in March we released, I don't even remember, it might have been about 15, and then in October we released 9. So there might be another bundle of videos for your headset. And then Amy is asking, can we have multiple admin per building? Yes, you can, Amy. So if that's actually kind of a newer thing within the last year or so that we've been able to add multiple admins. So Amy, shoot me an email. My email's on the screen there. Just let me know who should be those admins at your school, and I can get those set up. Okay. Oh, one is broken. Okay. Can we add headsets? Okay. So if you're interested in getting other headsets, Yeah, your school can absolutely can purchase additional headsets. Even the Vive Focus Plus that we donated is pretty inexpensive on Amazon right now. So I would even check into that. You can also purchase additional headsets from us, but you can have a limited number of headsets within a school that are using CareerView. One thing I would also, Amy, I would also just kind of as a side note for you, I know Denise Jonas purchased some headsets for some of the CTE programs in West Fargo as well. So there might be some additional ones that are available too. So just kind of as a heads up. And then when you reach out to me to get that admin information, then I send you all more information on I'll send you more specific instructions on how to get access to those downloaded videos. Okay. As far as memory goes, so one thing I do need to kind of touch on is that the videos are loaded two ways. They can either be loaded directly onto the memory of the headset, or they can be loaded onto an SD card. The headset will not have enough memory for all 105 videos. I think when we donated the headsets, we were at 76, and I think some people were kind of able to get 76 on there, and some people weren't, so it was kind of at a very close point. But now for sure, 105 videos will not fit on that headset. So there's a couple things you can do.
Lisa, I think that they optimized the videos after they were initially added to the headsets
that
too.
Is true.
So.
Yep. And so we made them smaller so that more could fit on. But I think that some people, even when they were smaller file size, couldn't get them even all 76 on those headsets.
But it might be worth re-downloading some of the older videos just to add capacity.
Yep,
and another a good idea that I heard out in the field once is, not having more than one headset, but they used multiple SD cards to split them up by like the healthcare and construction, like you said. And so.
Yep. Well, and that's so I'm going to, these are the, so there's two, this is a regular SD card and this is the micro SD card. And I wanted to show you just so that, because I had always seen this. I didn't even know that this existed, honestly, before I started working with the headsets. But this is the micro one is the one that goes into the headset. We purchase a micro SD card. It has 128 gigabytes of memory on this SD card. They can be purchased on Amazon or Walmart for I think they're about $15 a piece. All of the videos will fit on this micro SD card for years to come. We'll have a memory for years to come. But some of the things you could do, and as Laura said, some of the schools you might just make a healthcare focused SD card. Or you could even make, if you aren't able to purchase an SD card, a micro SD card, you could also take if you have more than one headset, you could make a healthcare focused headset and a construction-focused headset, or looking at some of those career clusters that way to kind of divide up the careers and just have those headsets designated as certain career clusters. So a couple of different ways that folks are using them. But yeah, the nice thing about even being able to put the different career clusters on these SD cards is that let's say a health science teacher wanted to use just the healthcare-focused ones, all of the students wouldn't get lost with all the other videos that are on that headset. So that's an absolutely great idea.
We have another question in the chat.
Yes. Okay. Asking about an app. So you are absolutely right, Paul. It is a little bit cumbersome, and we are looking into getting an app for the headset. So that is in the works. I'm not able to tell you what that timeline looks like yet. We are still in the very early stages, but we are looking at getting an app for the headsets to make it easier for all of you guys. So great point. All right. So the next few slides, what I'm going to do is I'm going to walk you through kind of using the headset and kind of the best ways to use that. And this, I also want to mention that a lot of people, these slides, in particular. A lot of people put these, print them out and put them in the box or the case if you have one with the headset, so that it's a little bit easier for not just you, but like others in the building that might be using the VR headset. The first few slides go through some of the buttons and things that are on the headset. I really just highlighted on the left side kind of the more important things that you need to be aware of. So the power button is located on the top, in the top right. There's a white button on the middle top that shows you if that has the charge in the headset. When that light is orange, then it means it needs a charge. And then where you charge it is number 3 on the diagram. And then the other thing to be aware of is that there are 2 straps to kind of adjust the sizing for that headset. I always leave the Velcro kind of in a stationary set position, and then really just adjust that knob in the back for the different head sizes. And when I am putting on the headset for somebody, let's say I'm working with a student, I always put that headset on them and then adjust it for them, because they're not going to know exactly how to size the headset when they're putting it on. And then a couple things on the underside of the headset that are important to be aware of is number 3, there's a long skinny button on the left underside. That's where the volume is. And there's 1 dot and then 2 dots on the other side of the volume, so that when you're pressing the 2 dots, then it's going to be getting louder. And then the number 6 here is where that micro SD card can be put into the headset. You'll just flick that little door open with your fingernail, and that's where you'll find the spot to put the SD card. As far as the controllers go, a couple things with the controllers. If you're looking at the top of the controller, there's this big black dot. That is actually kind of used like a mouse pad. That's particularly helpful when you get to the page where you have all of the CareerView videos. You can use it with your thumb to scroll through as you're kind of looking for all of those videos. The other kind of big thing that you need to be aware of on the controllers is this number 5, which is the upper trigger. There are 2 triggers on the back. The upper trigger is the one that you're going to be using. And that's anytime you are in the headset, you can point and shoot at something, and you'll pull with that other upper trigger to select. Okay. So as far as using the headset, so what this is kind of this is after you have set up the headset. So this is kind of once you have the headset set up and you have those videos uploaded, this is how to kind of initially use that headset. So you'll power up on the upper right hand corner. And then the controllers will instruct you to pair the controllers. And you'll have to pair the controllers every time you turn on that headset. That is waking up the controllers. It's turning them on. Okay? You don't turn off the controllers. They just go to sleep. So this is waking up those controllers to get them turned back on. And you're just going to hold down that Vive logo until the controllers vibrate to get them turned on. You only need to use 1 controller to view the CareerView videos. So I always keep the second controller in the box. Just save it for a backup. Save it as a battery backup too. It just becomes a little bit cumbersome to have 2 controllers in your lap, and there's nothing to do with that second controller. So really just kind of use that 1 controller. And in order to do that, it will ask you to pair both controllers when you initially turn on the headset. But if you just pair that 1, then you can just hit skip for that second one and leave that second one in the box. You don't even need to have it with you. So you'll just hit skip to not pair that second controller. Okay?
Lisa, I have a quick question as a person
Yes.
who only has access to 1 headset.
Okay.
Are the controllers similar to a mouse on a computer where it's connected to that specific device, or if they get mixed up, does it matter? Is a headset and the controller, are they matched in any way?
Very good question. The controllers are interchangeable. So if you pull a controller from a different box, it'll pair to whatever headset is nearest to it. So yes, they can be interchangeable. So few slides down the road, I always tell people to, as a tip, some people like to label their headset to match their controllers just to kind of keep things organized. However, they are interchangeable, so you might not want to do that because you can just swap controllers between headsets. Absolutely. Yep. The other thing to be aware of is that you do not need to connect to Wi-Fi to view the CareerView videos. You will need to connect to Wi-Fi when you initially set up the headset, but that is the only time that you need that Wi-Fi connection. So, and it will ask you to connect to Wi-Fi every time you turn on that headset. It wants you to connect to Wi-Fi because it ultimately wants you to go into the App Store and buy other apps and do other things on the headset. But you do not need Wi-Fi to view the CareerView videos. Okay. The other thing that it will ask you is to set up a Vive account on the headset, and you do not need a Vive account. That again is just to go into that App Store and purchase additional apps. You can absolutely do that. And with the headset, those are yours to keep. So if you want to go out and explore other things to do on the headsets, you absolutely can do that. Then you would need that Wi-Fi and that Vive account, but you do not need a Vive account to view the CareerViewXR videos. Yes, I will be sharing the slides, absolutely. So this slide goes over how to find the CareerView videos on the headset once they have been uploaded to that headset. Okay, so when you initially turn on the headset and you get that controller paired, you cancel out of your Wi-Fi so that you're not connected. There's going to be several screens inside the room when you put on that headset. So you're going to look for a bottom center menu, and you're going to click on Library. And then a new window will open up, and you're going to click on My Device. And then you're going to click on Viveport Video. And that's the app that plays the CareerView videos. Okay. The headset will go black for a minute. Everybody always thinks it's turning off or something. It'll just go black for a couple of seconds as it's opening up the Viveport Video app. Okay. If you have an SD card loaded into the headset, you're going to look to the left, and there will be a menu where you can click on SD card. And then you'll look to the center and you'll open up the CareerView videos. Okay. If you don't have an SD card, you're going to just click on Local and then the Movies folder, and that's where you'll find those CareerView videos. Okay. So there's a couple of different ways of finding that stuff, but what I always tell people is the first times that you're putting on that headset or somebody else is wearing that headset is to have somebody help you read off these instructions while somebody has that headset on so that you can kind of navigate through everything. Okay. Now, I'm going to jump over to this slide. The next thing that I want to talk about is this kiosk mode slide kind of alleviates some of the headache of going through those steps that you just went through. There is a kiosk mode available in the VR headsets. And what that means is that if you put the headset in kiosk mode, the minute you turn it on, it's going to jump into, go back one more, it's going to jump right into this Viveport Video app. Okay, so this fifth button. So you don't have to find the library. You don't have to click on My Device. You don't have to click on Viveport Video app. It'll take you directly into the Viveport Video app where you will find those CareerView videos. Okay. The other nice thing about putting it into kiosk mode is it doesn't give you the option of connecting to internet, so that let's say a student puts on the headset and connects to internet and then starts going out to some websites and exploring, or getting lost in the headset going to other apps. It really alleviates some of those problems of people getting lost in the headset. And I laugh because I did an in-person training with some Fargo and West Fargo teachers a year ago, and there were 9 of them in the room, and all 9 of them put on the headset at the same time. And I went through those instructions, and literally all 9 of them were like, okay, I'm over here, and it was literally like herding cats with all 9 people in the headset at the same time, because everybody was kind of clicking on things that they weren't supposed to be clicking on. And so this kiosk mode really kind of alleviates a lot of those problems, because it takes you directly into that app. Then you don't get as lost in that headset. So there is a link on this slide that brings you to a video tutorial that shows you how to put the headset into kiosk mode. And the only app that you really need when you set up kiosk mode is the Viveport video app. It includes another, so you can add other apps in there if you're going to be using other apps, but really the only one that you need is that Viveport video app. Okay, and there are a couple ways that you can do kiosk mode. You can set it up with a password or without. So if you set it up with a password, just make sure that there might be a few people that are aware of what that password is. Because that would mean that if anybody wanted to get out of kiosk mode, you would have to enter that password. If you don't set it up with a password, what will happen is when you turn off the headset, it will ask you if you want to get out of kiosk mode. So then you can select, yes, I want to get out of kiosk mode, and just go back to regular mode. So there's just know that there's a couple of different ways of doing that. Okay. Then as far as some user tips when you're using the headset, it is best to be seated in a chair when you have that headset on. There are some headsets out there that when you have them on and you're using them, you can still see your surroundings. But in this particular headset, and when you're watching the CareerView videos, you don't see any of your surroundings. So you can become a little bit discombobulated when you have the headset on. So it's best to be seated in a chair. And if possible, a swivel chair is best, because then that allows you to be looking all the way around in the VR headset. The controllers take AAA batteries, so you may want to have a few of those on hand if in case a controller goes down. But also remember that if you're saving one of your controllers in your box and not using it, you'll probably have a backup built in as well. A Clorox wipe can be used on that face shield, the area that touches people's faces. So you can use a Clorox shield. If you do need to clean the lens doesn't actually touch a person, but if you need to clean the lens, use a microfiber cloth to clean those lenses. And then some people do like to label the headset with the controllers, but again, if you are using those controllers interchangeably, if you have more than one headset, it's probably not necessary to label those controllers. As far as charging goes, the charge of the headset will only last for about 2 hours, and I say about because even with phones, it's like sometimes it feels like somebody has the same phone as you and they might have the exact same apps. One charge might last longer than another. So just be aware that it's about 2 hours that charge will last. So if you were planning on using the headset in 5 periods throughout the day, you wouldn't have enough charge to go for that entire day. So don't think that you can make it the entire day without charging it. So some of the things that you can do is, if you are going to be using it all day long, is to make sure that it's plugged in at any time that there's a break. So whether it's between classes, lunch periods, open periods, any time that there's a break. You can also keep it charged while people are using it. So as long as you have an extension cord and it reaches that power source, you can keep it plugged in and while people are using it. And then just be aware that it does take about 2 hours to get back to a full charge. So if you are, you're needing to get it back to a full charge, it'll take a little bit of time as well. Also, some people use, if you have more than one headset, you could use another headset as a backup and swap headsets in and out, if that was an option as well. There is a sensor in the headset. So when you put on that headset, it falls right kind of where between your eyebrows. And this is kind of important to know, because when you take off the headset, what happens is it goes into sleep mode. So if you had planned on having students kind of rotating in and out of that VR headset, if you take it off, it's going to go into sleep mode. And the next student that puts it on is going to have to power it on again. And sometimes it's easy enough where it might just go right back into what you were looking at, but sometimes it goes right back to the beginning so that you have to go through all those steps again. So what I like to do is I cover up that little sensor with a piece of masking tape or the corner of a sticky note just to get the headset believing that somebody is continuously using the headset so it doesn't go into that sleep mode. It just keeps it in that same area that it needs to be where you're watching the CareerView videos. The thing to note with that is that it does continue to drain the battery when you have that when you are covering up that sensor because it is still in use. The other thing to be aware of is that there is a boundary that is set up with the headset, and you won't even know that that boundary exists until you try to step outside of that boundary. But it's about a 1 foot circle around the user from when you set up when you turn on that headset is where that boundary is set. And it's a safety feature. It's just trying to prevent people from running into tables or chairs or whatever or other people. But it's important to be aware that if you are planning to, let's say you have a classroom of students and you have a row of students, you're not going to be able to pass the headset down the row. What you really need to do is have a chair that's designated to that headset and have the students move in and out of that chair, because then that will keep that headset in that boundary. Okay. What will happen when somebody steps out of the boundary is you'll see kind of almost it will light up almost like an electric fence or electric grid inside the headset, and it'll say get back into the boundary. Some headsets are more finicky than others, so sometimes we'll just step back into that boundary and it'll continue to play. Sometimes if you step back into that boundary, it still requires you to restart the headset. So it's important to try to keep it within that boundary just to kind of alleviate any of the issues. I also like to try to maybe mark that boundary with maybe a piece of masking tape or a jump rope or something so that you kind of have that visualization of staying within that boundary. Okay? There are times when the headset may not read a CareerView video the way it is intended. It should be in 360 degree view, okay? But there are times when the headset might view it or read it as a flat, almost like a TV screen inside the headset. So if it is viewing flatly in the headset, this is how you can correct that. So you'll just pull with that trigger on the controller, and a menu bar will appear as you're watching that CareerView video. There's going to be an eyeball icon on that menu bar. You're going to click on that eyeball, and then you're just going to click to change it to 360. Okay, so that's how you're going to change it into 360 degree view. Okay, and then it should stay in that 360 degree view once it's been switched over to 360. So next slide is a little bit about casting. So I want to make sure that you guys are aware that casting is certainly an option for you. There is a device that needs to be purchased to cast to a screen. This is a casting device that is on Amazon. It's usually around $50. But what it does is it allows the user of the headset to cast to a screen in the room, so that you could have just that one headset in the classroom and the entire classroom is engaged and able to see what that one user is looking at in the headset. It's wireless, so both of these two ends for this casting device plug into the back of the screen, so it's wireless with the headset, and whatever that user is looking at directly in the headset will show up on that screen. So as they turn their head in the headset, that's what will show up on the screen. So then the students in the classroom can see what they're looking at, they can hear the voiceover and kind of experience it in the classroom as well. Okay, so this just kind of is a little bit more information on that. Then when you are done using the headset, just make sure that you are powering off the headset. That means pressing that power button on the top, and there will be a screen that pops up inside the headset. It's where you can select shut down. If you do not shut down the headset, not that it's the end of the world if you don't, but it will continue to drain that battery. It'll put it into sleep mode, but it'll continue to drain that battery. And then the next time you turn it on, the headset will have died. But just want to make sure that you're aware to power down once you are done using. The other thing I wanted to mention is that we do have a PD course that is available. A few people, we had quite a few people take it already. We've actually made some improvements to it from a year ago when we first launched. So we have some lesson plans that are available in the PD course. So what the PD course, it's free to take for all North Dakota educators. So if you are interested in taking the course, you can absolutely take it. There is a $50 charge to get a grad credit, whether that's through NDSU, and we're also looking into VCSU as well. And so wanted to make sure that you were aware of this opportunity. The PD course takes you through a lot of the stuff that we talked about today, honestly. It walks you through what is CareerView, how to access the web-based experiences, gets you thinking about how to use the web-based experiences in the classroom. The PD course goes through how to set up the VR headset, how to get those videos uploaded to your headset, and then really dives in and gives you some sample lesson plans that you can use in the classroom, that you can adapt, that you can change, but it gets you really thinking about the best way to use it in your classroom. So just want to make sure that you're aware of this. Even if you don't want to complete the course, you could absolutely sign up to take the course and still get access to those lesson plans if you would like. So just want to make sure that you're aware of that. Okay? Oops. And then really kind of the last thing that I want to make you aware of is that we have a special project that we're working on. It's called XR for VR. We're partnering with Bismarck State College. And it's a program for people with disabilities. And it's across the entire state of North Dakota. But part of this project is that there are going to be 8 immersive rooms that are going to be installed across the state of North Dakota. So there will be one in every region. Bismarck already has one. Fargo has one at the fairgrounds, but I believe that there's going to be another one installed somewhere in the Fargo area, or maybe even a different, not even in Fargo, it might even be somewhere else. But regardless, I want you to be aware that you might be able to have access to these immersive rooms that you could bring students to for a field trip. What will happen is you'll walk into the room and the videos from the VR headset will be projected on the walls, and then you'll hear the voiceover describing the careers. So it's a different way of viewing, and especially for those that can't wear VR headsets, a lot of them can go into these immersive rooms and view the videos that way. So I just wanted to kind of put a little bug in your ear to know that these are coming and that this is happening. So just kind of be on the lookout for that, and more to come on that, honestly. And then this is just a little bit more information on this XR for VR project through Bismarck State College. And then my last slide is really, it includes my email so that you guys have it. But I also want to, we have a few minutes left, so I'm happy to open it up for questions, or if whatever folks are looking to do. See. Any questions that anybody has?
Well, I have one, so if others have questions, they can think about them as I'm talking. But, first, this has been wonderfully informative, and it's kind of demystified things that I was even unaware of. But with the recent announcement of CareerViewXR for elementary students, now currently that is just through the VR headsets. But what you can expect by the beginning of next school year is an enhancement in Are You Ready, where there'll be CareerViewXR resources for elementary students in Are You Ready as well. Do you have anything more to add about that from your perspective, Lisa?
I think what we're going to plan on doing is some separate trainings for elementary schools. Maybe not as focused on just so that we can make sure, and because I think that, and correct me if I'm wrong, Laura, I don't know if the access will be the same for the web-based experiences for the elementary schools. So I think what our plan is to maybe do some special training for those elementary schools. Yeah.
Right. And it is still under development, but they're all going to be age appropriate for that, K-5 or pre-K-5 audience. And it's really something that we're excited about, to have another elementary career exploration resource in North Dakota, not just through the fully immersive VR experiences, but the expanded resources that are coming to Are You Ready for next school year. So.
Thank you. Yes, thank you for bringing that up, Laura. I should have touched on elementary, and I meant to when we were jumping into the Are You Ready portion, and I completely gapped that. Is anybody in elementary on the line?
I think we have some that are covering like maybe K-12 or K-8.
Okay. Yep.
And then, of course, maybe through the recordings. So.
Yep. Good to know.
I do have a question. This is Deb from West Fargo. I'm out at Horace High School and just wondering more about the VR headset and how many VR headsets were made available to the district, if it's by school. So if you could share a little bit more about that, I'd appreciate that.
Yeah, Deb, when did Horace come up after, did the Horace High School open after we gave out the headsets?
Well, Horace has been there for about 5 years.
Oh, it has been, okay.
I think it's their 6th. Mm-hmm. And Autumn Gossett was the counselor kind of working with the career development before.
Yes. So do you know where the headset is in your school?
I have no idea, but should there be one?
Yes,
should there be a headset?
Yes. Yep.
Okay.
There should be a headset in your school. And the other thing that you could, if there are specific teachers that have an interest, Denise Jonas might be a resource too. She might have access to some additional headsets that some specific CTE teachers might get access to.
Okay.
Yep.
Appreciate
Lisa,
that.
were all the headsets that were donated the white Vive Focus headsets?
Yes, that is
correct. And so if you're looking for the one that might have been donated, it also probably has the CareerViewXR sticker on it as well.
Yeah. Yep.
So it might help if you find a group of them and you wonder, well, which one is it?
Yep. And actually, I'm going to pull. I have a stack over here now. I'm pulling them all down. This is the box, and of course it's blurry, so this is not helping, I guess. But this is what the box looks like. And then the headset, it's a white headset like this, is what it looks like. So yes. So it's a pretty big box.
Yeah. Awesome. Well, thank you.
It'd be hard to miss it.
Mm-hmm.
Any other questions?
Well, if anyone thinks of any questions that they wish they'd ask today, you can either email them directly to Lisa, or you can email them to me, and I will get those questions to Lisa. But I think that there's just so much to learn today. I love the resources that you provided and the slides. We'll make sure that the recording of this session, the slides and notes and everything gets sent out to you. The recording will get posted on the CRN website. And just thankful that you've all been able to join us today. Lisa, anything to add before we wrap up?
Honestly, just feel free to reach out at any time. I know sometimes people are hesitant to reach out with questions and feel like they're, being, a burden or whatever it might be. Please reach out, because we would rather have people figure out how to use it, and we want to help you. We want to be a resource for you. So please do reach out if there's anything that you have questions about. My cat hit my computer at first, and I couldn't figure out where it was. That's funny.
Thank you
glad
so
you got
much,
it figured
Lisa.
out, Janet. Thank you, everyone.